Hey there! Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Weekly Blend Show here on Big Blend Radio. We air this show every Sunday, and it's a companion to our Big Weekly Blend digital magazine, and that comes out every Monday or so, and you can check that out at blendradioandtv.com. And everything we talk about on this show has a link in the show notes. We have a special guest, and you can go to his website, herejohnny.com, not like in The Shining, but Johnny Schaefer is an amazing musician, a composer, a singer, just a songwriter, award-winning, and it is good to have you back on the show. Johnny, how are you?
I'm great, and it's always wonderful to be with you ladies, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Hey, it's always fun. We have fun. We talk about music. And Nancy, you've got a beautiful view like I do. Right now we're in Asheville, North Carolina, looking out on the Smoky Mountains. There's mountains everywhere and trees and birds. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day in the Smokies.
There's two hawks.
I've seen a few pictures.
Yeah, I'm up at the top of the trees on the lower level even. And there's two hawks. One is brown and one is gray. I'm trying to identify them because you don't often see a gray hawk, you know?
No.
And but it's interesting because one lives on one side of the tree and the other one lives on the other side, equal on this, like, they look at each other all the time. I'm like, wow, this is weird, you know? So I'm thinking, is one maybe a baby from the other one, but it just has different feathers? I don't know. But
wow.
It's kind of it's weird.
Yeah, it's beautiful out here. I mean, there's cardinals and little goldfinches, and it's gorgeous. And we're here hanging out with two sweet dogs, little Ebbet and little Starling, and so it's a beautiful day in our world of trusted house sitters, pet sitting. Got to give them a shout out because it's a fun way of our full-time travels on our park tour, but. We're celebrating the week. We're going to go over some of the holidays for the month of September because we're at the beginning of the month. And we're also going to talk about some of the holidays celebrated between September 4th, which is Labor Day, through September 10th. And we've got a music playlist on Spotify and YouTube, and Johnny is adding to it with some of his music and some of his friends' music. And I think that we need to put music for Labor Day that is for the working man and woman. I think we've got to have like a little Dolly Parton 9 to 5. What do you think, Johnny? A little,
I think
working
so.
class. John Lennon, working class hero. I'm just kind of thinking we got to think about all the people that have worked so hard over the years.
Go way back. You go to I've been working on the railroad.
And I go back to Johnny on the artificial intelligence panel discussion we recently had. And Johnny was like, well, what are we going to do about everybody that doesn't have jobs from this? I think some jobs will be created, but because you're going to have to edit AI on some things like copywriting and whatever. But Johnny, I think it's interesting. You came up with some interesting ideas of what's going to happen to the working class, like really not in that transition mode, right? So AI is here. It's not all bad. It's not all good. But in that transition, we can't have mass job loss across the country or around the world. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that they think that we're going to eventually have to go to some sort of a minimum income that people can get because there won't be enough jobs. Every store. I mean, I've seen 3 new stores now that have the self checkout machines that they've installed, and it's fewer and fewer cashiers and all that stuff, and those were decent paying jobs with benefits and everything. If thousands of those go away, where do those people go? So yeah, it's going to be a big shift, and we're going to have to figure all this out. I mean, maybe it'll give people more time to do creative things and all that, but a lot of people are kind of thinking on their feet and trying to say, well, how can I turn my passion into something that can make money? the tricky part of that is that that's even shifting as we go, so it's a lot to try to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of going back to square one, where, you didn't really own your own store, but you worked for somebody who did have a store until you earned enough to maybe get your own store kind of thing. So now it's kind of gone full circle, and it really is like starting over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When one thing I noticed in Mexico when we've been there is many of the people have some sort of a little store at their house. And, this one sells household supplies, and this one sells fruits and vegetables. And, my Paco's brothers and sisters go around and shop at different houses, and there are a lot of things like that too.
I think that's cool. I like the in-house business. We always have, because we've always kind of worked from home, and I don't know, like I'm one of those people, I roll out of bed and start working or first play with dogs and cats and do that. But there's like that, I love what we do, so I mean, I don't mind that, I don't know if I would want people in and out all the time, but I think I think we're just going to have to change. We're going to have to, because it's here, whether we like it or not. That's reality. And we're dealing with climate change. And I wonder about being young now and going to college, wondering if your career is going to be there. And even going into medicine, you're going to need the basics. But then by the time you graduate, AI is going to be doing the surgery for you, So
I want a robot to know.
I know, the robot can take your temperature, Nancy.
I would like to have a robot roundup day.
I said if it's R2D2, I'm fine.
My mom had a hysterectomy years ago, and it was done. They called it a robotic surgery, and it didn't go well. And after the fact, a lot of people ended up suing, and I don't even know if they have that robot anymore, because it was kind of one of the first robot surgeries, and she's wishing that she wished afterward that she hadn't done it, but at the time the doctor was very convincing, and so. Yeah.
But why? Why would a doctor put himself out of business by saying, "Hey, use him instead of me"?
Right.
You got
the doctor was working with the robot, I guess, was the idea that it was supposed to be more efficient, or I don't even know what the selling points were, but they were gung ho about it, and then it really kind of messed my mom up. So.
Oh my God, that's crazy to think of. Man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some happy stuff. I want to go into the holidays. All right, so let's look at them. Okay. One of the most exciting things. Let's talk about the arts first, right? Let's talk about September is Classical Music Month.
I love that.
Classical music is just beautiful. It's motivating. It's inspiring. It can also get really dark at times, depending on who you're listening to. So, Johnny, when you think about classical music, who comes to mind for you, like immediately?
I like a lot of the French composers, Fauré and Debussy, and when you say people who come to my mind, my brother and sister-in-law both sing with the LA Opera, so we get together all of the LA Opera productions, and hear world-class singing, and that's really amazing. I think, classical music. I mean, I knew I wanted to be a pop singer, and I chose to be classically trained. I have a degree in voice and composition. And a lot of it you don't end up using in pop music, but it gave me a foundation, and it gave me tools that helped me to write pop songs. And I draw on it, like with You Can't Hide the Light. Melissa was, this is my duet with Melissa Manchester. She commented on how it was, the writing was so sophisticated because I have a double melody, like two different things going on at the same time. And that came from all my years of singing in choirs and opera choruses and things like that, where sometimes in opera you'll have 4 or 5 different melody lines going at the same time, and And Bach did that frequently with fugues, where he would have different counter melodies happening, and so it's kind of ingrained in me. So I always love to incorporate some of those elements into pop songs. You kind of have to do it in a way that the song is still accessible for people who don't have a classical background, because even with You Can't Hide the Light, there were some people who were kind of like, oh, well, it's just like I was trying to get playlisted on Spotify, and some of the playlists just said, oh, we don't hear a melody. Well, there's definitely a melody there. It's just a little bit more sophisticated, but, So.
I think you came on our show the second time was with You Can't Hide the Light, right? And I think Unflown was the first time? Or am I getting the other way around?
There might have been one more in between, I think. But I think.
Well, now you know that You Can't Hide the Light has to now be added to the playlist, right? So
there you go.
We're adding. Well done, well done. And speaking of Melissa Manchester, you put one of her songs in there too. You said other end of the one for, and that was for Telephone Tuesday on the 5th. Okay, so let's talk about this Telephone Tuesday thing, because don't you kind of feel like that's Lily Tomlin, Nancy? One ringy dingy? Was it Lily Tomlin?
One ringy dingy?
Yeah. That's funny.
I loved that character, and I was just a kid when that show was on.
Her face is so mobile, like she can make any face. She's like a female Red Skelton, like he could make any face, and she can make any face. There's not too many people who can make their eyebrows go up and their chin drop and be convincing at the same time and smirk. No, I look at it like it's amazing to me.
Wow.
Yeah. I think we actually have the record album from that Lily Tomlin put out with that character. I think it's somewhere in my mom's house. Yeah.
My name is Edith, and I'm 4 years old.
Yes. See, there you go. Yep. We're getting there. We're getting there. I think it's so interesting. And Melissa Manchester, tell everyone how you worked with her quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah. There's actually a music video of where she and I tell the whole story. But basically, when I was a kid, I was a closeted preacher's kid and growing up in Porterville, California, and it was kind of scary for me. And Melissa's music was very comforting and kind of guided me through that kind of dark period. And I've met so many gay people since then who have that same experience with her music. There's just something very empowering and uplifting about her songs. So I used to write songs and send them to her on cassette tape when I was a kid, hoping she would write one. And then in college, I found out who her voice teacher was. And when I got out of college, because I had a voice teacher in college, but once I got out, I started studying with her voice teacher. And then because I had noticed like a difference in her voice from one album to the next, and I said, oh, is she studying with somebody new? And they said, actually, yeah, she is. And so I started studying with Wendy McKenzie. And then, it's kind of stalkerish, I guess, but I used to look in Wendy's calendar when she'd go get a drink of water or something and see when Melissa's lesson was. And then I would schedule mine like before it or after it. So we would happen to run into each other. And we eventually became friends. And then over the years, I was the chair of the foundation, the Music Performing Arts Center Foundation at College of the Canyons in Santa Clarita a while back. And they built a new performing arts center, and we brought Melissa in as the kind of inaugural performer there. And and I got to know her manager, Sue, really well through that whole process. And then Melissa had a cover contest where she wanted, you could sing one of her songs and win the chance to sing with her live. And I won. And I recorded two of her songs as kind of a mashup. And then I was able to sing Whenever I Call You Friend with her at the Rose in Pasadena. She and Kenny Loggins wrote that song. And there's some exciting stuff coming out with that particular song soon. I can't really talk about it yet, but I actually was part of the reimagining of the song. And it's pretty exciting because I think actually she has talked about on a news show that she recorded it with Kimmy. So that's coming out soon
awesome.
as part of her album of re-recording all of her old hits. But there's a video where Melissa and I of the performance where I got to sing with her, and then we talk about the whole story, the whole backstory. And then later on, I sent her "You Can't Hide the Light," and it took a while to hear back from her, and then all of a sudden she called me and she said, "Where did this come from?" She said, the whole thing I went through with Paco and I being caregivers for my mom and my stepfather for about a year. That's when I wrote that song and many of my other current songs. And she said, "You really found your voice through that whole process."
That's awesome.
She said, "I don't think you need me, but I'd love to come to the party." So she recorded it, and we ended up winning the UK Songwriting Contest for Best Original Song. That was out of 6,500 entries from 82 countries. And then we've won, the music video has won several film festivals as Best Music Video. We used dancers from the Pasadena Lineage Performing Arts Center, and the dancers are kind of represent Melissa's and my souls, are also the light in us, because the song is about seeing the light in each other. And so the whole thing was just a really beautiful experience. And Paco's been making many of her music videos over the years, and we've become friends. She is actually just this week, I think, starting a year-long stint on the national tour of Funny Girl as Mrs. Bryce.
Oh wow!
And she'll be in 32 cities in the next year, and
wow.
It's pretty. She's really excited about it. So, and it's going to go along with the release of her album of reimagining of all her songs. So,
and what we'll do is we'll link everyone in the show notes to, or we do a page with articles and podcasts and everything that goes with every holiday over the week we're discussing, and I'll make sure to link to the interview we did with Johnny and Melissa, because that was interesting, because she's got a background of like the other end of the phone that's in the music playlist. She did that with Dionne Warwick, and I love Dionne Warwick, but she also worked with Bette Midler, Melissa Manchester, did a lot with Bette, and so I think it's great that she's going into, do Funny Girl too. That is awesome. I also wanted to touch on, we were talking about Labor Day, but You Paved the Way is a song you want us to also include in the music playlist. And I know you've been on the show with that too. And that's been You Paved the Way is just really such a beautiful song, and it can go in so many ways. People doing things like, I know, like this week, not only for Labor Day, but you've got to think about the people who stood up for labor rights, right?
Absolutely.
Cesar Chavez, saying that. By the way, it's Hispanic Heritage Month starting September 15th through October 15th. So just looking forward on that. But, I'm looking at some of the things we have, like it's National Wildlife Day on Labor Day. And I think, You Pave the Way, or, when you think about the early conservationists, you think about, oh my gosh, how can I forget Rachel? Oh, come on. Silent Spring, the author of Silent Spring. Oh, Rachel Carson. People who looked at the environment years ago in conservation, and people thought they were nuts. Right?
In the music video for You Paved the Way, we start out with National Monument, Monument National Park, and we included national parks in that video because that was one of the first things I thought of as I was writing the song, was all the people who paved the way and the people who set aside that land for us to enjoy, and the people who built roads and the people who built buildings. I was out on my walk. I take a daily walk, and that's when the song came to me. And I was actually walking through Pasadena, where there's all different ages of buildings. And I was looking around thinking of all the different people who had worked in that area at different times, building the things that I see now, and the roads and all the infrastructure. And And then that's just kind of where the song came from. And so it's all about the labor movement.
Yeah.
Isn't that so cool? Like when you walk through a neighborhood and all the buildings are different architectural years and styles, as opposed to you go to a housing tract and everybody looks the same.
Oh God, little boxes on the hillside.
Yeah, it's like, stop it.
Oh, Buffy St. Marie retired. Can you believe that? I'm like, oh, but I was going to say, going back to the labor movement, like Cesar Chavez was actually born in Yuma, Arizona. And by the way, today's show is sponsored by the Peanut Patch. You're going to hear my interview with Donna. She's on our show all the time. It's one of those, if you like, really good naughty treats and healthy treats, it's a good place to go. Just saying.
Peanuts are good for you.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah. But she's got old fashioned candy, and also she does tours, because, they used to grow peanuts in Yuma, Arizona, but it's also the winter capital, well, you understand all this too, Johnny, being from Porterville. The whole it's an agricultural belt in Arizona during the winter. They're the winter capital of leafy greens and carrots and all that. So the workers will go, back and forth between Salinas, the San Joaquin Valley, which is in California, to Yuma, Arizona, and even Phoenix is growing into being quite that greater area, quite an agricultural hub. But Porterville is oranges, and then up the road in Lindsay, you've got olives, and you've got, there's nuts everywhere in, Central California. So we're going to talk a lot about nuts today, not just us on the show here, but no, but I was thinking about Visalia, California, and the architecture there. We went around, there's a historian, Terry Allman, who's retired in police, but he's written all the crime books and everything of Visalia area, and really good books. And he's a really cool guy, and he's taken us on more than one tour of downtown Visalia. And he's written like historic books of Visalia and the architecture, and he took us into this hotel, like that used to be a hotel. I think it's called the Palace. Really, I mean, you need to have like someone take you up there, because they were renovating and everything. It was incredible up there, man. These old buildings. But when you go through Visalia, you'll see like something Victorian next to something modern. It's like, you can see that things aren't even straight anymore. It's like, they're all like, it is amazing, because there is also flooding that happens. Like in flooding, like when I talk about Yuma, you have to really step up on the streets, and Arizona has that because of monsoon floods, and the Colorado River used to flood. Now it doesn't have any water. But it's the architecture and the people that did things. And that ties back to Cesar Chavez, who was, he's got a national monument dedicated, a National Historic Site, through the National Park Service on your way, just outside Bakersfield. It's between like Tehachapi and Bakersfield. There's his national monument and his gardens and house and everything. And he was, Nancy, you talk about him too. He, just did so much for the labor movement, and it was to not have to have people bend down and use the wrong, the equipment they were given to harvest was wrong.
The short hook site, like, instead of a long handle, so they'd have to bend over in order to cut the vegetables off the vines or the plants, and it hurt their back, because you just think about it, you're for 8 to 16 hours for some people, bending over and going down to like 2 feet off the ground, and then trying to have power lifting your arm above your head in order to have the power to cut through that vine. It's really, really hard work. And you're supposed to do it in one swipe. I mean, I've tried it. It took me like 5 times to even get halfway through.
Well, when you think about how the people that go in and do all the labor, the day labor too, you think about like even this country right now. I love the transportation bill because they are fixing the roads, but everybody bitches about it, right? But imagine being the people out in the heat and on those roads. I mean, it's hard work. So I think Labor Day should be every day that we acknowledge those, that are working so hard.
Especially, like when you're talking about where your food comes from. Come on.
Oh, well, speaking of that, okay, well, we're going to jump into food then, are we? But I was going to tell you that there is a holiday. No, we can move. We can do whatever we want. There is a macadamia nut day on September 4th. Labor Day is National Macadamia Nut Day. Who doesn't like macadamia nuts?
Those are good nuts.
And I actually have a story about macadamia nuts. This might be something helpful to any guys around my age. I'm 61, and a few years ago, I kind of had some male hormone issues, and the doctor wanted to put me on this medicine, and I started reading up on it, and the side effects were really bad and all this. I said, can you just give me some time? And I researched, and I found this nutritionist online who said, just eat a handful of macadamia nuts and 3 Brazil nuts every day. It has all the stuff in it that'll boost male hormones. And I did it, and within a week, my symptoms were gone, never came back. I've been doing it ever since. And a lot of the stores actually have Brazil nuts and macadamia nuts next to each other. And several times I've been in a store, and a couple of guys will come up, and they're doing the same thing. So it's kind of a thing. And it definitely has worked for me. So,
but see, there's always going to be a natural solution, but sometimes a natural solution makes you eat way more than you can. You know, but no, I mean, it's like, here, eat your bale of hay or something. You know, it's like, okay, you know. So no, it could get that way, but 9 times out of 10. Just changing nutrition and understanding what you're eating.
Well, I think, I mean, now macadamia nuts, I think they grow in Hawaii. We used to have them in Kenya, all over the place. And cashews, macadamias,
they're so
Brazil
good.
nuts are awesome. In downtown Visalia, there's the Naturally Nuts shop, and then Vina Batch in Yuma. If you're in Yuma, go there. She'll have nuts for you. Brazil nuts, all of it. She's got everything, man. She has licorice. But I want to say the farmers, going back to farmers, it's farmers on September 9th, Farmers Consumer Awareness Day. And it's designed to give the public a view into the lives and work of farmers. And this is really about, teaching people. There's parades. There's all kinds of ways of celebrating, and across the country. Tulare County, where Johnny's from, in Central California, home to the sequoia trees, the giant sequoia trees. By the way, our show on Tulare County is coming up on Thursday, so stay tuned to that, everyone. We talk about the giant sequoia trees, Visalia, right around the corner from Johnny's birthplace, his home. There's so much work that goes into it. And of course, there's always some negatives in places. But when you think about the hardworking farmers having to deal with what's going on in climate change, I think there's a lack of understanding too. People blame farmers for water issues, and it's not really always the case. There may be here and there, but honest to God, when you start going into farms and understanding what these small farmers go through, you'll find that somebody else is taking the water for swimming pools somewhere else, especially in California. Farmers do not waste water. It's expensive as heck. And I know farmers who do dry crop farming. It is not easy to do. Even winemakers we know that do that. Even Colorado, they do it. They know what's going on with the weather.
Yeah, at some point you need water.
You do. You do. And
you need water, or it's not happening.
The way the weather has been, wildfires, hurricanes, tropical storms in places they shouldn't be, all of that, you've got to think what the farmers are going through, and their job is to feed us. And, the more we understand, the better. But I actually dug into this. So it all began apparently in 1981 when Paul Harvey was talking about an occurrence on the radio, his radio. You guys remember Paul Harvey, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And it was about a woman that got mad about the prices of things at the grocery store and didn't understand what was going on. So a farmer heard her carry on this and then just went, that's it. We need to do something and get people to understand farming. And so that's why that day is there. And I think that's important. We should go to farms, and farms, there's farm stays. there's a lot of farmers doing things to supplement their income. Some, farmers markets. Do you know how hard it is to go to a farmer's market while you're also a farmer? I just want to say, there's how many of our friends are farmers, Nancy? A lot.
A lot.
And musicians, farmers, winemakers, and bed and breakfast owners, right? Our friends and authors. But there's so much work, and they're doing so much, there's farm stays and things like that. And I encourage you, if you can, to do that, because you'll see people get up at 4 a.m. and check on their chickens. And, as we pet sit, we've done little farm stuff. And my hat is off to farmers. You get bitten, you get stung when you're harvesting. You go through hell.
I'm curious if you've seen the film Kiss the Ground.
Yes.
I don't know if it's still streaming, but some of my farming friends were really grateful for that, because they were kind of forced to go to one crop and all that, and they said, my grandfather had a lot of different crops, and we had a lot of animals and all that, and we kind of had to go this way because we were forced into it. But they said that they were glad to see a movement going back towards multi-use farms. And
it's about getting our soil back.
It's about the soil. It's also about the insects. When you do one big crop, here comes the glassy winged.
Oh, you're back on that again. Everyone, you'll hear about that on Wednesday's show with Peggy.
No, but we've lived in places where one huge swarm of insects will suddenly appear, and it's all the same, and it goes on for days, and you're like, oh, look at this. Look at this and look at this, and where's its predator? Oh, the predator got wiped out by insecticides. Just saying. And so here you are, this free-for-all of one insect who has multiplied beyond control, and has found their food source.
And also because it's not working with nature. Nature does not do. Nature is about biodiversity, not about a monocrop, right? It's kind of like this. I feel like it's starting to sound like what's happened to the music industry. We're only doing this kind of country song or this kind of pop song, but like we've forgotten the diversity of music. We can have a little of this. You can have a little. That's why we're the blend. And we were just talking about this. You'll hear it, everyone. Wine Time with Peggy. Listen to that on Wednesday's show, and it's actually our new Garden Farm and Vineyard Day. We have like a whole day now, every first Wednesday, about that to celebrate this, because we should. But we were talking about that. We were told not to do what we're doing. You shouldn't be doing a variety. There's too many magazines in the world. This was when we first started. As soon as someone said that, we went, screw you. Don't do variety. Screw that. Everything is connected. That's not how nature works.
Exactly.
So we held on. We've held on to through all the ups and downs in the world of media, we're still here. I don't know how, but we are. And we have to fight this every day about not being just this, just that, just this.
Yeah, I get the same thing with being an eclectic musician. Like we have a dance version of You Can't Hide the Light. There's a dance mix coming out in a few weeks of You Paved the Way, like EDM. And I've on my Acoustic Remedy album, I've got a song with harp and cello, and I've got on the same album, I've got a dance track, and I've got a reggae flavored track, and a country flavored kind of pop thing. So to me, each song, you find out what landscape each song lives in. And, I don't want to be limited, I want to use the whole box of crayons,
Exactly. And by the way, I need to give you a shout out, because your acoustic album, that's 10 years today, right?
This month. I think it was September 3rd is when we released it. So it's
cool.
Yep,
yeah,
right
well, that's it. It's today.
This month tomorrow. Yeah. So this month I'm going to be celebrating it.
You are.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Yes. Yeah. So I'm celebrating it. That's awesome. That was a very good timing.
How's that? Yeah. I knew. We got to call Johnny. Yeah. No, I love this. I mean, I love that we're talking about farms and everything. So I'm going to go into the food thing. All right. And I want to talk about books too, because this is a big book month. Okay, and on top of the music, it's also International Square Dancing Month, just in case you want to square dance.
Yeah.
Hey, why
I
not?
love the two-step.
Hey,
South Africa was great
I used to be in a hoedown show at Disneyland.
What?
No way.
When I worked at Disneyland, I was in the Main Street Electrical Parade for 4 years, and then I also sang in some shows, and then I was in a hoedown show in Frontierland in between parades.
Are you kidding me?
I
did not know this about you, Mr. Johnny Schaefer.
Wow.
This is fantastic.
I work at Disneyland in the art department. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah. That's funny. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, it's a small world after all.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm going to jump into food. Okay. Just for September, the month of September. Okay. It is Better Breakfast Month. Okay. So Johnny, what's a good breakfast for you? Like a healthy, good, better breakfast?
Well, I was going to say Eggs Benedict, but then you said healthy.
I know better breakfast might be that, hey, you actually eat one. I'm with you. Eggs Benedict is my favorite, and I would like champagne with it, but I'd like to replace the ham with avocado. It's just
I would like to replace it with bacon.
Nancy loves the bacon.
I love
Nancy past bacon.
So healthy.
All right. So it is also National Chicken Month. So Nancy, what are you going to do with your chicken?
Put bacon on it.
I knew it. All right. So Johnny, do you eat chicken?
We particularly like rotisserie chicken. So there's a lot of different things you can do with it. And,
put it in a salad.
Yeah, it's funny because when we went to Mexico, they also do a lot of rotisserie chicken down there. But I was amazed at how, like, the raw chicken there is yellow. Like here, it's kind of white, and the chicken in Mexico was yellow. It was interesting. Yeah.
Well, there's that.
It's more natural. It hasn't been bleached so that you don't.
Right.
You're getting real chickens that have, we have one turkey now, right? Unless you go to like Diesel Farms or something. Well, one of my favorite lines, and I think I've told you this on one of your questions on Facebook. Everyone's got to follow Johnny on Facebook, and he's got an awesome group called the Gratitude Club, and I love it. And I'm slow on it sometimes, but no one gives me hell about it. You go in there every day and you put in 5 things you're grateful for, and it does shift your perspective. It is a very good thing to do. And especially if you're pissy, or you're being all crabby, go do that, and it'll sort you out right now. I always say, I
love reading. Go ahead. I love reading what people are grateful for too. I learn a lot about, or it reminds me, so it's a good reminder.
Yeah. Well, Willie Nelson said the day he started counting his blessings, his life turned around and changed for the better. And I believe that. I truly do. But you asked some question about a lyric, I think, and the sun's not yellow, it's chicken. That is one of my favorite lyrics of all time by Bob Dylan. Wow. Yeah. And so when you're talking about the chicken and yellow, I had to go there. Sun's not yellow, it's chicken. Mama's in the factory.
No, it's chicken because it ducks behind clouds.
No, but listen, that song, okay, I have to put Tombstone Blues on the music playlist because it is Mama's in the factory. She ain't got no shoes. Yep. Tombstone Blues is going in. Yeah. Yeah, we used to play that.
I don't want to overload the songs, but when we were talking about Melissa, I realized that she has a song called For the Working Girl that she wrote with Bernie Taupin.
That's right.
It is very perfect for Labor Day.
Okay, we're going to put that For the Working Girl. And the thing to me is like this is for the whole week, and yet if you're celebrating Labor Day, but you're going to have to go back to work. So listen to the songs then too. Yeah. Listen all week. Okay, so we got chicken. It's Honey Month, National Honey Month. Now, I do love some honey. Now, in South Africa, we used to have peanut butter and honey sandwiches or syrup if you didn't have honey.
My gosh.
Yes.
But peanut butter and honey sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody do that instead of jam? Peanut butter and honey?
I did that growing up, too. Yep.
And if the bread got stale, or if you toasted the bread and you put some cinnamon with it, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
Dude. A little crispy because the honey would make it crisp.
Honey on pancakes is better than syrup, just saying.
Yeah.
French toast.
We got to be nice about the honeybees too. So that's the other thing. All right.
Yes.
National Papaya Month. Okay, so we call them popos in South Africa, and so I think there's just they're all related.
Popo.
No, I know, Nancy, it's hard to get her to eat her vegetables and fruit sometimes, but if we maybe put a little rum with the papaya or the pawpaw,
Now you're talking.
she might do it. By the way, Jimmy Buffett, that's really sad, his passing. Yeah, we're going to have to put a Jimmy Buffett
We
song
have to
on
have
there.
a toast to Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy Buffett, he made a lot of people happy with his music. You know, that's a thing. You know, I just,
Wonderful
that was
music.
kind of, and he was so young. God, we're missing a lot of good people lately. But papayas. Now, do you eat them, Johnny? Would you eat a papaya? Do you eat it?
Yeah, I like papayas. Yes.
Now, do you put lemon juice
I actually don't know that I did before I met Paco, but Paco definitely introduced me to them.
Yeah, Mexico is full of papayas. Yeah.
Yes.
So South Africa. South Africa and Kenya, every house in the backyard had an avocado tree and a papaya tree. Yes. And this is my favorite. It is National Mushroom Month. Okay. Seriously, I'm so into, I love to eat them, but you would, out in our last pet sit, I'd walk little Lucy through, the forest, the Pisco National Forest, where we were pet sitting was in the forest. And I'd see different mushrooms every day and see like one was like this big toadstool the next day. It had like a full head of hair, like Cousin It. Wow. And it's the spores flying off to create many other little mushrooms. Wow. And it's so cool. Like I got so into the mushrooms of the forest that we would hike and they would change colors every day and things would bite it. Like who ate the mushroom? Like what happened? Was it a bug? Was it the deer? Was it the groundhog? Who ate the mushrooms? Like
somebody got high.
Somebody was happy in the forest, you know. So I got like there's ones called indigo caps where they turn this purple. There's all these, and then I started getting into the mushroom group, and then some of them, like I'm trying to get IDs on all of these. I have so many ones that look like a brain, and then what I think is like the one looks like a little toadstool conish thing at the top as a brain, and then all of a sudden it flattens out like a pancake that looks like a flattened brain. It's trippy cool.
It opened.
So, and mushrooms, people are drinking mushroom coffee now instead of regular coffee and stuff. They're going into lion's mane being good for you. Like people are understanding the benefits of mushrooms, and they're part animal and part plant. So to me, that means they're kind of connected to the human body. If trees are part human or we're part tree, like what does that make mushrooms and humans? Weird, huh? I know. I know, it's cool. And then some people enjoy mushrooms. Some people just enjoy mushrooms to get a little happy. And, you know, apparently psychosylibin, is that what it's called? And then isn't that when they go down south, they go down and do that thing where it makes them puke and get rid of their issues? Ayahuasca, yeah. I just it doesn't sound fun to me at all to do.
No.
I'm
curious. I am curious, but yeah, I agree. It's like, I don't know if I want to do all that.
I don't know if I want to lie in a sweaty room and puke and poop and cry and go through all of that stuff.
I think you take medicine to avoid that.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but no,
it's like having the flu. Why would you do it on purpose?
I don't know. You know, and then you've got to think way back when people that ate those mushrooms and went through that, right? Did all that. They must have thought like the devil's coming out of their body. Like, I wonder about that in religion. How much of it do we see something happen and think like, oh my gosh, this is the devil's coming out or something. You know what I mean? You know, the shamans and stuff, you know. Well, it could be. Sometimes you're expelling the bad.
Well,
you know?
the shamans and the witch doctors knew what was poisonous, semi-poisonous, and what to mix with what to mess with people. We saw that in Africa all the time. I mean, it was like that was what they did. And people paid them dearly for their knowledge. Yeah. And they just, you know, they didn't really go to college. They just watched what happened in the tribe and who ate what and what happened.
Well, I want a portobello burger now. That's all I want. Just like I love a good portobello, man. That's like a good meat.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So let's see. What else do we have food-wise? National Coffee Ice Cream Day. That sounds really good to me. That's September 6th. Who doesn't want that? National Cheese Pizza. I'm all in.
You can't leave the pizza day out.
No.
Yeah, when I was growing up, cheese was my favorite.
Yeah, still is.
Still is. Plain cheese. So.
Yeah, I could eat a block of cheese. Don't put it in front of me.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
it's not a good deal. When I went vegan for a while to clean my body out, and I'll tell you the difference in your body from not eating too much dairy. It is a huge difference. It is really a huge difference. Was I happier? I don't know, but this is important. Labor Day is also eat an extra dessert day. I'm in. Johnny, what are you eating? What are you eating? Come on, what's your extra dessert?
Oh boy, I really love lemon meringue pie. I think I might have lemon meringue pie. Yeah, it's funny because Paco does not get it. He goes, I don't know why you like that stuff, but to me, it's like a perfect combination. So.
What does he like? What does he like?
Pie is wonderful.
What does he like?
He's not really a dessert guy. He doesn't have a taste for sweets. So maybe some of the pastries that aren't too sweet he enjoys. I think he likes like pineapple cake and stuff like that. So stuff that's not overly sweet.
Pineapple upside down cake. I'm in for that. Nancy, what are you going to have for your dessert?
I like strawberry shortcake.
Really? You didn't do pecan pie this time. I'm in shock.
Pecan pie. I like almost every dessert,
I'm liking this idea of National Coffee Ice Cream Day. I'm kind of going towards that. I'm thinking coffee ice cream with a little chocolate sauce on it. Ooh, just a little, not too much, because you want that coffee. And I would like some marshmallows with it, and some nuts. Oh yeah. So now I would like to have I want to take Rocky Road ice cream and merge it with coffee ice cream. How about that?
With a bit of rum.
That's sounding good. With a little bit of pecan pie.
Well,
they said I could have an extra dessert. So I'm going in. And then there's cheesecake. Did everybody forget about cheesecake? You can't forget about cheesecake. Yeah. A really good cheesecake.
Yeah, Paco loves cheesecake. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, dude, seriously.
Cheesecake is wonderful.
All right. So what else is there for food? We've got National Beer Lovers Day. Hey, we are in Asheville, Beer City, USA. They have some amazing craft breweries. Lovely beer here. Do you drink beer, Johnny?
I have to be in the mood. When it's really hot, I love like a beer, but I'm not always in the mood for it. But sometimes I really like it. Tecate. You get Tecate out where you are, right? Yeah.
I used to do that with a little bit of salt and pepper in it. I don't see Tecate where we are in the southeast, so I miss that because it's a very light beer. Just like you're saying, the perfect hot day,
spicy,
not heavy. I like a good IPA, but it's filling. It's like drinking food in a way. But hey, listen, speaking of beer, it is National Salami Day on the same day. Do you think they did that on purpose? On September 7th.
Sounds like
beer and salami sound good.
They are
all
good.
right. I'm looking to see if we have any more holidays that are about. Well, listen. Okay, there is Steak au Poivre Day. I don't know how to pronounce it.
What?
National Wiener Schnitzel Day. Ooh, I do. A Wiener Schnitzel's good. That's on September 9th. Anybody like that? A little bit of schnitzel doesn't hurt. Oh, September 10th is National TV Dinner Day. Okay. Who remembers the foil trays? Come on.
No, dude.
And you have to uncover the dessert a lot of times. Like, you have to pull the foil
seriously, back. I believe that you can sit down, watch TV, and have your dinner on a tray without it coming from one of those. Because seriously.
Okay. By the way, it's California Edition Day.
Out and the whole thing. Was it?
Yeah.
September 9th is California Day. It was the day that California became a state. Yes, California Day. Oh, we're going to have to play some California music in the playlist. There's a lot of food We'll have to have beer music. We're going to have, this is getting bigger and bigger.
Well, beer in California, that's almost the same thing.
I'm looking, what else do we have? Oh, National When Pigs Fly Day. That's National Weirdos Day. That should be every day.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful weirdos. Yeah, we like that.
That should be called National Congress Day.
Oh, boy, don't get me started. Do not get me started. Oh, speaking of walking and seeing mushrooms, September 8th is National Dog Walker Appreciation Day.
Oh, nice.
Same day as National Iguana Awareness Day. Thank you. I love walking dogs. It's one of my favorite things to do because they teach you to I don't go around sniffing, but they do, but I observe. Well, don't tell people, but a little bit of that goes a long way. But they get you to slow down, and dogs make you walk. They make you play. They make you happy. Just petting them is like a good thing. Oh, I found another foodie.
And when they sniff, if you concentrate and look at their eyes and where they're looking and where their nose is pointed and do the same thing and sniff, you will smell what they smell. But you have to hone in and clear your mind.
Okay, so now you know what else is going on the playlist. Ooh, that smell. It is. Okay. That smell. We got to play Leonard Skinner. Yeah. Okay, that's happening. My gosh, this is an interesting playlist. I love it. Like the Big Blend music playlist from the Big Weekly Blend. Like people will get in there and they'll go, I didn't know I liked this. I find so many new musicians doing it. New like music that I would never think I liked, and then I'm like, oh, I suppose I really like this now. And bands I didn't know about, and it's so cool. And I mean, we're going to go from classical music, and Host the Planets have to go in there, and a little bit of Bobby McFerrin for Classical Music Month has to be in there. But and then all of a sudden we'll go to Leonard Skinner in one playlist. I think that's important to do. It is. I did find another foodie thing, and it is on the same day as National Salami Day, September 7th, is National Acorn Squash Day. See, we're getting into fall, which I think is very cool. Yeah, I like
squash.
Yes. Yeah. No, acorn squash is good. You know what I like is the big spaghetti squash. I like those. Oh, and World Samosa Day is on September 5th. This is an important day.
Cool.
We need more and better samosas in this country. I feel that.
So good.
I love a good samosa. Some say samosas, but I found the best samosa in Dinuba, California at a pizza place.
Really?
And World Samosa Day is on a cheese pizza day. Yeah, and New York, Manhattan Diners, New York, I don't know, it was Manhattan Pizza Rio or something. And they had samosas, and it was the best samosa I've had in this country in Dinuba, outside Porterville.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you like samosas? Samosas are good.
I do. Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
I used to live on mushroom samosas in South Africa.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Good.
A little curry spice.
There.
Samosas were like a hand food. Everybody had
they're
samosas.
like an appetizer. Like
it was like it's like eating a little meat pie or something, like in England.
So
but I mean, I know they're deep fried and all that stuff, but like they're really good. Oh, I want one now. Like I'm gonna cry over it because I really like. It's a rare treat to have a really good samosa. We need samosas in the world. Anyway, going to books, Johnny. This is a big weekend month for books, and you have a song for that. It is okay. I love this. Yep, you've got one song in there. You've got "Don't You Dare," and we did a show on that book. That was a month ago or 2 months ago. Where were we? We were in Indianapolis.
Probably a couple months ago, yeah.
Yeah. With Gail and Jill, and "Don't You Dare." This song is amazing, and this is for Buy a Book Day on September 7th. You want to give everyone a little bit of background because it is beautiful. I was listening to it again today. I love this.
Oh,
and "Don't You Dare" is an awesome photo too. It's an awesome book. I need to read it though.
Yeah,
the story is amazing.
Gayla Turner found boxes of photos in her mom's closet. It said, mom's photos. And she asked her, what is this about? And she said, oh, those are your grandma's pictures. You can have them if you want. And she'd never seen a picture of her grandfather. So she started looking through them. And there was a picture that said our wedding, and she recognized her grandmother, but she realized that the groom in the photo was actually another woman. And so she started digging through the photos and found letters and love letters between her grandmother and this woman. And there was this whole LGBTQ bohemian kind of enclave in rural Wisconsin 100 years ago. And so she ended up writing a book about her journey and the lives of these people. And it's a beautiful book. One of the photos actually has the two women looking at each other, and her grandmother wrote, "Don't you dare" under it. So that's why she called it that. And I was really moved by it, and I wrote a song, gave it to Gayla, and she said, "Oh my God, can we put this on the audiobook?" So we both felt that a woman should sing it. So we had Jill Knight, who's a wonderful singer and guitarist, record it. And so that's included on there. And then Paco made a beautiful video. He touched up all of Gayla's photos that she found. And there's a beautiful music video on YouTube that shows all the different photos with the song.
It's awesome. And we'll link that in and our playlist, music playlist, is on Spotify and YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it from there.
Okay.
I love it. And that's the power of books, right? And telling stories. I think that's how people can sometimes overcome barriers of, things, not understanding. And so I think and what her story and sharing that and then starting to write it all and doing that is good. So there's a National Read a Book Day on September 6th, by the way, before Buy the Book Day.
Cool.
I think they need to get together and say, buy the book, then read it. But anyway, but it's also, no, because the other thing is September, we're big advocates for libraries. Libraries are crucial in this country and in the world. And it is National Library Card Sign Up Month. And libraries, that's where, that's how I discovered bands, back way before we had things like Spotify and YouTube. I'd learn about other music just from my local library. We'd watch movies, documentaries, and then I remember when they first got ebooks. Remember that, Nancy? It was like, I think even pre-Kindle, they had ebooks. And a place to study. And, my life would not, the library, like going to the library was like going to a candy store for me as a kid. It was everything. And
along with that, September 9th is International Protect Education Day. So those two kind of go hand in hand.
You got it. It's true. It's true. And if you go to the library and you get your education stuff going, then you get to have that ice cream that I'm talking about. It's Indigenous Literacy Day on September 7th. That's also important for when we're talking about education. One thing too, I think there's more book stuff in there, but one thing too I wanted to touch on is there is the whole movement of Grandma Moses Day. And it's about Grandma Moses became famous as an artist, but later in her life pretty much has retired even. And, there's also National Don't Procrastinate Day, I think somewhere in here too. Fight Procrastination Day is September 6th. And you have a song for that too. Lighten Up. But I think that's the thing, as we were talking about Jimmy Buffett passing, kind of reminds us to really live life, right? Do everything you possibly can while you're here. Yes, you can sleep, and sleep is good, but do stuff. Don't procrastinate. That doesn't unless you're going to actually watch a good movie or read a good book. That's worth procrastinating. But don't procrastinate life at all. And
that's not procrastinating. That's learning.
Yeah, exactly. And being entertained and feeling emotions. That's what the arts are about. So I think Grandma Moses, she's amazing. She is. She's a trip. Yeah, she is. So that's a good one. But tell us about Lighten Up.
Well, I've always, people joke that the Schaefers are particularly adept at procrastinating. It's kind of a Schaefer thing. We really wait until the last minute, and we generally get stuff done because I guess the adrenaline of the deadline or whatever. But I thought about procrastination in myself, and I realized that part of it for me, it comes from being a perfectionist, and I was really hard on myself, and so a lot of times I would procrastinate doing things because I felt like I had to be perfect, and it was just too daunting. And so I kind of wrote a song around that called "Lighten Up," and it's just kind of lighten up on. It was the song. That song is actually kind of for me. Like I wrote it as an instruction to myself about, not taking life so seriously. My dad used to always tell me, "You're way too serious. You're way too serious." And so it's actually one of the reasons I went by Johnny instead of John with the music, because I just want to be more playful. And I find that when I'm playful, I'm a lot more creative. And so it's kind of letting go of, just diving in and doing something and not worrying about if it's perfect or not. Just doing it was helpful to me. Like I kind of took the edge and the pressure off of myself by I'm just going to go for it, and whatever happens, happens.
That's a big deal for creativity too. But I think that also, I think sometimes when you have constrictions, that it actually helps. Sometimes it's weird, like that's it. Both sides are good. Sometimes when the field is wide open, you're like, "Holy cow! Now what do I do?" It's like you need to. It's interesting, But procrastinating, what are you procrastinating about? I do that. I mean, I work. I mean,
you don't want to do what you're supposed to do. Either it's something you really don't want to do, but you have to, like filing taxes. Geez.
Yeah, that's a procrastination thing.
That sucks. Who wants to do that?
Going to the doctor sucks. All of that stuff. I think procrastination but when you get it done, it feels good. Like I'm an annoying Virgo who has to make lists and likes to check it off. I'll actually do something and then put it down on paper and then check it off because I already know I did it. Like that's how annoying I am. And I'm annoying, but I get things done and I'm organized to a point, and I screw up all the time on things, but it's about, I think sometimes procrastination comes from a headspace. Like for me, I will sit and I know we have a project or some article that we're writing, and I have it in my head. I'm creating in my head, like I'm in that whirlwind of that. But then to put it down, it's like, oh, now I have to make it make sense. But in my head, it's beautiful. Like I don't know if I want to make it like all organized and stuff. Like, can't you just like dig it? You know what I mean? It's like actually doing that, and then once you get into it, it's fine. As soon as you take that first step, it's fine. It's like even going to the doctor. As soon as you get in the office, it's on like Donkey Kong. Whether you like it or not, you're there. You're going to have to deal with it. And you just need to take that step. It's just one step can change everything. Everything in your life. Good.
You touched on something that I put on my Facebook page a while back. There was a quote from Orson Welles where he said the enemy of art is the lack of limitations. And at first I don't even think I agree with that. But then I started thinking about what he was trying to say. And I think it's just that when, particularly like if you look at different art mediums, like Matisse, when he couldn't use his hands anymore for drawing, he took up paper cutouts, and he started and so within the restrictions that come with doing paper cutouts, he stretched that medium and made these extraordinary pieces of art. And with any different, like with watercolors, you have a set of limitations, and with the same thing with different kinds of music and all that. So, and that you just kind of touched on that a little bit ago. So I thought I would just bring that up because when I posted it on Facebook, it kind of got a lot of people talking about, what does that mean and all that. So.
Yeah, well, Nancy, you're a painter. What do you think?
Well, I know because I painted in acrylics, then I painted in oils, then I went back to acrylics because they were easier. And then I tried watercolors, and I was like, oh, yikes. No control.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, well, that's kind of wonderful. And then it's kind of not, depending on what you're trying to do and what the expected result is, so then I thought, okay, different mediums for different subjects at different times.
Yeah.
Like one medium doesn't really work for everything all the time. So not to get the best results. So it was kind of fun, and I used to, oh gosh, remember when I cut people's silhouettes out of black paper in that supermarket?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah.
No, but yeah, those things. I mean, well, she did that at Disney too, didn't you? That wasn't that part of your
I learned at Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you
sit down. I remember that at Disneyland. Yep.
Yeah, and so I would sit down in a supermarket.
That's when you were on tour in South Africa with her art.
Right,
she was raising money for the Cancer Association doing it.
Yeah, and then
cool.
So you'd sit there and you'd look at the person. You have maybe 15 to 20 seconds if you can get them to hold still. Long enough, and you cut their face out, and then by the end of the day, if somebody said my nose isn't that big, I'd just chop it off and okay, here.
There you go. Hey, I'm gonna switch gears, and pun intended. September 9th is Drive Your Studebaker Day. So,
why?
The ultimate pimpmobile. Come on, it's cool.
That's very specific.
I love old cars, but it's definitely Studebaker. Now, and Johnny, is Schaefer, is that German? Because it's German Language Day on September 9th, too. Well, we got the German in us, too. We got the German, the Hungarian, all of that good stuff. And so let's go have some schnitzel, because that's Austrian. So, we could do that.
Good.
Teddy Bear Day is also September 9th. Oh, you know what? We're going to have to put that song on there. It's going to happen. There's some interesting, California. We're going to have to, this is going to be one heck of a music playlist. September 8th is Actors Day. And I think that's important because it's still look at what's going on with the writers. Any news on that from your side of the planet with the writers strike? And because that's really changed things, right, for Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're still striking, and it's important what they're doing. I mean, the whole thing, AI is one of the big reasons they're doing it. And, the whole thing that, the studios want to make it where once your image is used in a film, they can then use it in perpetuity in any way they want to and not pay you again. And that's just, not acceptable.
No.
So
that's mean.
Of course, I mean, they can also just create fake people now with CGI and put them in there. So, it's, I don't know. But, I as far as I know, nothing, they're in negotiation and there's been some movement, but no one's satisfied yet. So,
at the end of the day, I think we're going to see more and more smaller productions, more independent stuff. And I think that's important, but what's going to happen with that? Because you were going to post it on YouTube, and then how is that going to work? Like, because you really, you're a YouTube star, then you can make some money, fine. But you're still hanging your hat on something that could go away in an instant, right? Just like Twitter is now X and all of that. So
yeah. Well, and that's what's happening with music. There are 40 to 80,000 songs are released every day. And so to try to cut through all of that is really daunting, I applaud the creativity, and I'm happy that, for myself that I've got tools at my disposal that I can put my music out and have it heard all over the world. But everyone else can too. And so, it's a challenge to kind of, draw attention to what you're doing. And I appreciate you guys for having the musicians on that you do that help, it helps us get our music out to the world. So thank you.
Oh no, we love it. I mean, it's a passion project for us. It's like the arts, the arts to us, like the books, like International Literacy Day on September 8th, everyone. It's a really huge deal. It's so important because so everyone's out there, but however, you don't really, you put your money on Spotify and Spotify's making the money. And, so we do a playlist on YouTube. How much is the musician really making from the YouTube play or the Spotify play and stuff like that? I think Bandcamp has been really good. And then I'm hearing some rumblings on that changing. So I don't know now that vinyl's coming back, I think that's a positive. but you really have to build up your fan base to make vinyl work. And it's a very, it's very difficult to be an sit at home musician without performing. I mean, it's like this, you have to work your ass off to make it, which I appreciate in all industries. You know, it's like that. I mean, you've got to see.
Where would we be without art and music?
Nowhere. Right. No.
What way? I mean, okay, you go to work and come home. Go to work and come home. Go to work and come home. What is there if you take away all the music and the art?
Look at the roots of blues. Yeah, blues. I mean, blues and gospel. Those are two things.
These are things people actually need. They're not really, you know, sometimes people say, well, it's a privilege. I think it's a need. I think it's a need.
It's part of there with food. It's an emotional connection, and it's something that can get you through when somebody knows a song and then they play it in their own head while they're working on something really terrible or something. You never know. I mean, there's people with
good art,
really
good writing.
Going back to Labor Day, there's people that are cleaning sewers, picking up your trash, disposing of dead bodies. I mean, there are some really gruesome things that humans do, and they get overlooked. So I look at that for not just the Labor Day movement. I look at what about all the people doing all the really dirty work that never get talked about.
And they need
and I can guarantee you, they go home and they either work out really hard. And by the way, it's yoga month. That's a good thing to do. Downward dogs, baby. But or there's the alcohol and TV that people come to, but at least there's a TV with some maybe entertainment to get them past whatever they're going through and work. You know, you got to think about the people doing, you know, autopsies and going to murder scenes and all of that. I'm not trying to be really gross or anything, but God almighty, look at our military, what they go through and see and experience. You know, I look at that. They are a labor force too. And so there's so many people doing so much, you know, nurses, people in orderlies and hospitals cleaning up people's puke. You know, all these people don't get that much acknowledgement, but they work their butts off. Dishwashers and restaurants, housekeepers and hotels. Holy cow, you guys, you are a godsend. I mean, we don't think about them enough. Do we tip them enough? Do we at least smile and acknowledge and not look down? You know, those jobs, AI will never take those jobs, but my gosh, are we giving them enough money to do what they're doing?
Right.
And if they have music to get their day through, like that's, you can't even put a price on it. You can't put a price on
Nancy,
that.
Nancy, do you remember at Disneyland, the street sweepers got more money than everybody else because it was kind of like the less glamorous job?
I didn't know that.
Well, they were kind of fun with it. Like
they made it, but they owned it.
Yeah, they did. They made it like almost like an
Nancy,
act.
the sewer song. What's the sewer song? We need to put the sewer song in.
Okay, Art Carney sang it. I sing the song of the sewer. I sing the song. Together we stand, shovels in hand, to keep things moving along.
We're going to have to put that in the playlist.
My grandmother had that record. She had a 78 record on the other side was something called Flibbity Baba or something. But on the one side was I Sing the Song of the Sewer. And Art Carney used to play opposite Jackie Gleason in The Honeymooners. That's what it was called. An old TV show.
Yeah.
Dating myself really well here. But he did several records that were all comedic and they were really funny. And I just remember that because it's a good song. I still remember it after all these years. Yeah.
Wow. See, this is what it's all about on Big Blend Radio, the big weekly blend.
The sewer song.
The sewers. Yep. But it's important. It's important. Oh, Johnny, on that note, we're gonna close the manhole on that part of it.
Okay.
But we've done a lot. The one thing, another song you did add in here, I want to close on this because I think it's great. Feel the Love Days on September 7th, and I think we should close on a positive. So you have Love Shines On. Tell everybody about that.
Love Shines On. Actually, I wrote, 20 years ago or so for a musical. Then the musical only got one showing in Palm Springs at a theater. It was called Courage to Love. It was during the AIDS crisis, and it was kind of a love story of two guys. And Love Shines On was actually the last song, like the finale of the show. And the show didn't really survive, but the song actually in the reviews, it got rave reviews, and it's just about the power of love and brotherhood and coming together and rising above and love being the catalyst for that. So it's a kind of a tempo pop song, and it's a lot of fun, and I just thought when I saw Feel the Love, that song came to mind.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And I think that's what the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Yes.
Was that Dusty Springfield who sang that? No.
Yeah.
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Well, lots of people sang it, but I think she was the first one.
I do want to remind everybody that it's also Save the Koala Month, koala bears.
Yeah.
All the wildfires are impacting them in Australia and things. So we've got a really good link to an interview with a koala biologist that you can listen to. Yeah. So, koalas are cute and cuddly, but talk about mushrooms and stuff. Those little things are higher than kites on their eucalyptus leaves. They go from one type of, they had like over 60, 70 types of eucalyptus that they need to eat. And they're slow because they do get a little high on them. And so when we talk about biodiversity, it's so key for them to have this kind of food. And so, that we've got to think about what we do to our planet. And when we clear things, to put one new thing in, that's not always good. But thank you all for joining us here on the Big Weekly Blend podcast. We're going to close with an interview with Donna from the Peanut Patch over in Yuma, Arizona, where she talks about what you can get, go on their tours because peanuts we were talking about agriculture. Peanuts were grown in Yuma, Arizona many, many years ago. And then the whitefly came in and the lettuce, that was the prize crop. So they had to stop doing peanuts. And the tour tells you about it. And she is the one who keeps the peanut heritage alive in Yuma, Arizona. And she takes you on a tour, and you also get to learn about peanuts, how they're really not a nut, they're a legume. And she tells you all about the history of agriculture of Yuma, as well as takes you in the back of the peanut patch where you can see them make peanut brittle on this giant slab of marble. Giant slab. You get to have tastings. You get to taste homemade fudge. There's ice cream. Seriously, y'all got to go. And they have a date. They do date shakes there now, Nancy. And Yuma is, so in Southern California, not far from Johnny, is Indio, which has dates. But Yuma is known for the royal medjool dates, and they brought them from Morocco to Yuma, and they grow naturally without needing to have pesticides and things. So whether you do it organically or not, it doesn't really make a difference. And medjool dates are a very healthy treat. So we talk a little bit about everything. So take a listen to that now. And of course, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Look in the show notes. You'll see the links to the music playlist. We also do a book list, a reading list of all the authors that were born on this day in history throughout this week. And we also have a link to the page on our site that has all the holidays listed and quotes of the day and links to podcasts that go with, and articles and puzzles and recipes that, like mushroom recipes. We have a lot of those that are connect with the month's holidays and then also each day this week. So, and of course, keep up with us just for the Big Weekly Blend magazine that comes out on Labor Day night. We're going to labor it out, Nancy. You ready for another labor? We're laboring.
Sure.
Everybody keep up with Johnny too at hearjohnny.com. Thank you so much for joining us, Johnny. Always fun.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
Hey, everybody. I'm here with Donna George, the owner of the Peanut Patch in Yuma, Arizona. So Yuma is in the southwest corner of Arizona, right on the border of Mexico, and it is home to the lower Colorado River, the Yuma Crossing National Heritage Area. It is the sunniest spot in the world, and so it is one of those amazing destinations, especially in the fall and winter. I know a lot of visitors flock there from the Midwest, Canada, all those cold states. You want some sunshine, you go to Yuma. And when you go there, you want to go take a visit, go to the Peanut Patch. They're open October through April every year. And there's also specific tours that they do. But first, I want to welcome back Donna. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good. How long has the Peanut Patch been open now?
Oh my gosh. I think we're looking at 46 years.
Wow, 46 years. That means, so then your anniversary and ours are happening for the 26th this year, right? Since
That's
you
correct.
took it over. Wow. Okay. Well, we're all young, right? You remembered me when
Exactly. Yes.
In my 20s. Donna knew me in my 20s.
Exactly. Oh.
Can you believe this? Like, wow. I can't even remember my 20s anymore. But, the Peanut Patch, I always say it's like it's an institution. If you go to Yuma, you must go to the Peanut Patch. You're open year round on your website so people can order online, but there's nothing like visiting the store because you have all those amazing treats, obviously peanuts, all kinds of peanuts. You make fresh peanut butter there. And you have, it's a delicious destination, all kinds of old-fashioned candy and fudge. And I'm getting hungry just thinking about all the salsas and relishes you have. A lot of Southwest specialties and souvenirs too for travelers, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of souvenirs.
So in regards to your tours, these are interesting because you really give everybody an overview what a peanut is, the farming and agriculture of peanuts, which happened in Yuma. So you're keeping that legacy alive. Can you give everyone kind of a brief overview of what they can experience on a tour?
Well, it's a lot of education about how peanuts are grown. I also give a little history of how the Peanut Patch got started. And I have some antique equipment that we show. And we also give them a kitchen tour so they get to see some of our product that we make in production. So it's a lot of fun.
Like that giant slab of peanut brittle. We love the giant slab of peanut brittle.
That's our number one product because it's fresh made.
And you put on that marble, right? And that's the one thing is every time you go on these tours, she's like, don't touch the peanut brittle, not just because of the health regulations, but you will hurt. It's so hot, right?
It can be really, really hot. Yeah. But it cools quickly on that table. So.
Well, I think it's such a cool thing.
We can get it in the store.
Yeah, and you bag it up, sell it, and you go in the store. You've got ice cream in there too, right? Not just fudge. There's ice cream.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh man, you want that? Yes, you see, it's sunny Yuma. Have some ice cream. When are the tours? Because these are free tours. It's something I just love it because you really, it's part of Yuma, Arizona. I mean, Yuma is the winter crop It's the winter crop capital of the country, right? With doing lettuce and all kinds of produce. And but there's something growing year round in Yuma. Lots of vegetables.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. In the summer, we're growing cotton, some wheat, alfalfa year round, and then of course in the winter we have broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce. Just about anything that goes in a salad, and most vegetables, except we don't do very many tomatoes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a very quick kind of crop. Yeah, because you have the sun. So when are the tours again? Because I know you balance them out.
Yes, we do our tours from January, February, and March on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 o'clock. We do it that time because that's when the weather is the best, and that's when we have the most people here.
Yeah. Awesome. So everyone visit thepeanutpatch.com. As I was saying, you can shop online for all kinds of goodies. but also keep up with them there and on social media. They're very active on Facebook and Instagram. It's dangerous though, because you're gonna get hungry whenever you see them post. Thanks, Donna.
You bet. Thank you.